All right, hello everyone, and welcome to this tournament live stream game we have today. Once again, coming from the Blue Tit Bash, which is our latest tournament on the Wingspan Tournaments Discord server, which features the new European expansion. This is from the group stages of Blue Tit Bash and is between kylelovesducks and SPAKEME. And joining me on commentary once again for this game, I've got Motherlove. So how are you doing today, Motherlove?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good. Neither player I'm particularly familiar with, so I'm really excited to see how it turns out.
Yeah, me too. I think one of the great things about having all these streams that I wanted to do for this tournament was get some maybe newer players or players who hadn't had that chance to be featured in the stream games before. So we have had lots of new faces before, and of course today as well is no exception with a couple of new streamed players. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think we're about ready to get going. So we've done the flip. SPAKEME is going to be going first. So if you could get the invite sent out, SPAKEME, and we will get this game started. So yeah, best of luck to both players.
We know how they're currently doing in the standings for their group. Oh, that's a somewhat exciting start with the Is and Phoebe. That's always the fan favorite.
Absolutely. Yeah, pretty solid starting hand. Would you kind of look to keep the Swan, or is the Godwit in the tray an option as well? I mean, kind of the wetland card draw, particularly in the European expansion, is so important. So I think being able to get something down to at least help, expand.
I think in
expand
this
the card
case
draw
it might be worth going for a wetland Phoebe.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. Maybe a wetland Phoebe and then a Dixie Soul just to plug the extra cards, get a few extra eggs.
Yep. Yeah.
Obviously, Phoebe's going to be quite good this game, just for the first and second end of round.
Right. Yeah, it's quite bland, these end of round goals. No interesting European expansion end of round goals, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, certainly the Phoebe is going to really help with those first two. And yeah, interesting. They're kind of going. It looks like a bit more heavy on the birds in the forest. I don't mind that. I think something
that's a good option.
Something like Phoebe, it's good and it certainly helps supplement your food source, but you can't rely on it as your only food source. If you're kind of just getting worms, it's going to help your opponent a bit too much. So I don't mind this. You play the Phoebe, you lay eggs, and then you can look to get this double play down, which is very nice. But
it's pretty much going to guarantee them the first end of round as well.
It feels like it for sure. So we now have Kyle's starting hand, and we've got the White Stork.
Another great starting hand.
Yeah, another really solid start. Certainly that White Stork is probably the instant keep. And then you kind of look at the Golden Oreo, perhaps. Again, a star nest that is gonna help these first two end of round goals and maybe get a little bit of food as well. But we've got that European Robin in the tray as well that they might be having their eye on. And I think particularly this is a case where you look at the food cost of that, you can look at the food that your opponent has kept at the start, and you can think, okay, they're probably not going to be going for that. I can feel pretty safe in lining myself up to be able to pick that up and start getting some extra food.
Especially the Robin is going to be a second viticulturalist bird, and it's also going to be a bird with quite a few egg spaces.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I think my kind of experience playing with the White Stork is you need a lot of egg space. It's only got two itself, and if that's going to be your main source of getting cards, you need those other birds down to be able to lay eggs on to actually be able to use that properly. So certainly having a bit of extra egg space is very nice. But pretty solid start here, I think, for both players in kind of different ways.
Start, honestly.
This will be very interesting to kind of see how this one plays out. But there we go. The Godwit does get picked up, and there's the hummingbird. So you probably go hummingbird here if you're Carl, right? To try and get that in the grasslands as well with the White Stork, and suddenly you're getting eggs and cards and food. That feels like a very strong position to be in. So if we've got one player with a hummingbird and another player with the Phoebe, there's going to be lots of food thrown around this game, which always makes it a bit more exciting. But they go for the Robin instead, which
I didn't think they'd go for the robin just
Yeah,
based on the fact that they didn't keep a seed. They kept
exactly.
a fish instead.
Yeah, well, I think they potentially could have, maybe kept the seed instead of the worm, and then you get the robin, and then you get a worm from the feeder. At the moment, like you say, not keeping that seed does make it a bit more difficult to try and get this robin down. But I think it's still a good option, and they might be able to force it down, particularly if they get some extra worms here from this Phoebe that SPAKEME's getting down on this turn. So it could potentially still work. I don't think it's a bad option to have.
Yeah, I think it's still worth going for the hummingbird as well and get both.
Yeah. I think, again, like the Phoebe, I think if you're relying on a hummingbird as your only food source, it is very risky. It is quite limiting, and obviously you're giving lots of food to your opponent. But I think just as kind of supplementing and getting a bit of extra food when you do lay eggs, but then obviously having that option in the forest, and obviously with this Oriole as well, potentially getting some extra food, I think it can work here. I think it's a pretty good option for Kyle.
I mean, at the same time, the hummingbird, we don't often consider that, but it's still like pretty efficient point to food cost wise.
Yeah.
And it still counts as a second grassland bird, so all around a pretty great option.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's flexible in the food cost, it's flexible in the habitats, and it's 4 points. I think that's pretty good, and it's one of those where, you put it where you want, and I think in this case, if you're Kyle, it goes pretty well in that grasslands with the woods. I'm going to keep calling it the wood stalk, the white stalk, to get the food and the cards as well at the same time. So I like it. I think it's a pretty good option in this scenario.
Yeah, especially because with the second worm they can actually keep their fish, so they can go hummingbird, take eggs, get a seed, play the robin, and go from there. And they probably might be able to get 4 birds down in round 1 if they go that route.
Yeah, and that's always so nice. I think being able to kind of accelerate and get birds down very quickly, it just sets you off to a really, really strong start. And particularly when you can get birds with strong brown powers like this, or kind of in the habitats that you're looking to get resources for, I think it's a very nice option. But well, that changes things a lot. Because
changes things quite a bit,
now,
sure.
is Kyle gonna look? I don't think Kyle's gonna look.
You know what they did? They just scrolled and went.
They didn't even look. So
they didn't see the image.
No, and I think that's unfortunate, because I think SPAKEME's going to be all over this. They did just take the woodpecker, but I don't think you can really leave a raven here in the tray. It doesn't work with the kind of thing that they've been trying to set up here with the Phoebe and looking to get this woodpecker and maybe this double play as well. I think they've been thrown off a bit here, SPAKEME, in seeing that raven still there. But man, you've got to pick it up.
I mean, they're still like in a good position because they still have wardens in their hand.
Exactly.
So they can potentially take the wave and take eggs twice, play the wave, and they already have a cheap a cheap bird as well.
Yeah, I think that works. I think the Phoebe is kind of a great way of being able to get that food for the raven to play that straight away in round 2. So they might still try and do this double play. Obviously, it helps for the egg space, helps for the end of round. So I don't mind it. They could still play that and then maybe go for food. And there is, another rodent obviously there at the moment. So some options here, I think, for SPAKEME to try and make this one work. But kind of seems like for Kyle, the priority here is just kind of grab some food and try and get these birds down. But obviously, this Oriole, when your opponent's got a raven, you're probably not going to get much usage out of that in terms of getting free food. So probably not the kind of bird that you'd be looking to play here if you're Kyle.
Especially with the raven down, though, I would definitely take the hummingbird.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think the hummingbird and the cuckoo as well would be pretty nice. So, you're getting some free worms at the moment from your opponent, so getting that cuckoo down is going to be very easy. You're going to get lots of free eggs because, this grasslands is just going to be absolutely hammered with the raven down. And like you say, hummingbird, if you throw a little bit of extra food at your opponent, I think you're always a little bit safer doing that when they do have a raven. So, and again, with the white stalk, if you've got the hummingbird and the white stalk, you're getting eggs and you're getting food and you're getting cards all at the same time. So that's a really strong grasslands if you can get that set up.
Both have a really strong hand for now.
Yeah.
As far as early games go.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a solid start.
Yeah, I think kind of, if you're SPAKEME, the thing that's missing really a bit is obviously the the wetland. So they've got this Godwit that is going to go down. It is a nice option, lets you pick up 3 cards and keep 1, so that helps a little bit. But obviously they'll be looking to try and get, you know, a nice brown power or something down there to at least just help out a little bit, because you know, with a Raven you can get as much food as you want, but if you don't find the cards to play with that food, it can be a real struggle. So it is so important to be able to give yourself access to enough cards to be able to make it work.
It's also worth noting that now the golden oil, kind of a waste of space.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would still get discarded for food, right? So they've still got that option at the moment with the with the forest, so they can at least, you know, get something out of it. But yeah, you know when your opponent's got a Raven, they're not going to be taking that game food action at all. So you are certainly going to struggle in terms of being able to get any sort of pink power activations off that.
I'm still like a little bit stressed out that I'm not taking Hummingbird.
Yeah.
It just seems so good here. They already have 1 food.
It does. Like you say, they've got the food. You can pick it up. You can look to play it, and you know, with that white stalk, if they do choose to lay eggs here and activate it, obviously that will reset the tray, so it's all got to go. That Hummingbird included. So you it's now or never, I think, if you're Kyle, to try and grab that on their next turn. Certainly I'd be looking to grab it if possible.
One thing that's worth pointing out though, and that actually happened to me in another game earlier this week, is that who is it? SPAKEME has a pretty bad draw engine here, but they're actually gonna appreciate the help from the white stalk quite a bit, just from having the tray reset a lot.
Yeah.
They're essentially cycling cards without having to draw a lot.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. That is a really good point. I think sometimes, like you say, if the bird tray kind of gets stuck and you don't have good card draw and you're sort of constantly just gambling from the top of the deck and seeing what you can find, it takes a long time and it can be quite tricky. But you know, if that tray is reset, and it can happen, you know, you use the white stalk and maybe 2 or 3 good birds come up and you can only take 1 of them, and then suddenly it goes over to your opponent's turn and they're able to grab the other ones. You know, that is really, really strong and quite dangerous. So that's a really good point, and it's certainly going to help SPAKEME with maybe
of a double-edged sword.
Sometimes. with maybe some suboptimal wetlands here. I think they can still have, you know, potential to be able to get some good card draw.
Yeah, that was the last chance to actually go for the Hummingbird. Looks like it's gonna be a discard.
Yeah. So I think they went for food on the last turn, but kept the Oriole.
Yeah, looking to still play the Oriole.
I think I'd probably, you know, that ship has sailed really. I think with the Oriole, like we said, you're just not really going to get the activations on that. But here we go into the second round, and it's not the most inspiring of trays for either player.
Not optimal. Still no wetland bird.
No.
So not great for SPAKEME.
No, I mean I think the eagle is okay. You know, I think particularly if they can try and grab that with the Godwit, I mean it's a bit slow. You probably expect that that's going to be gone. But I think really for them, you know, if there was an amazing brown power, you obviously try and grab that. I think for SPAKEME, you just kind of you get the rodent here, you get the second food. You play the Raven, you lay eggs, and then you've got the food for the Godwit. So you try and prioritize getting that down.
Yeah, for sure.
That is going to obviously get cards itself through the brown power, or the white power, I should say. And then, you kind of have that option to go for cards, discard some eggs, and that's really what you want to see. So Cooper's Hawk, probably the only time it's going to get used, does indeed get the
100% success rate.
100% success rate. What more can you ask for? And activates the Oriole, probably again the only activation that Oriole is going to get, but it does at least, you know, extend that forest out, so they are getting 3 food a turn now. So
I mean, it's, you know, it still reimburses a bit of the cost of the Oriole, so
it does. It helps a little bit, and it is a star nest, so you know it's helping this end of round where they otherwise don't have a ground nest at the moment. So you know, you can think of it as maybe getting a couple of extra points, helping the end of round goal as well. It's always a good option to have. So hoping for a good tray. Not really great options. Maybe the golden eye.
Not great, but not not that
Not
bad either, if
no,
I'm being honest.
not terrible. I think you probably go Golden Eye here. Certainly, if you're planning on getting this Warbler down, you know that's 2 cavity nests. So
I would probably go Yellow Hammer here. Just because the wetland might seem like it's a waste of space now, but it still essentially gives you a free wetland action. And that can be useful with the White Stalk if there's a tway bird you need to take. And you don't necessarily want to reset the tway.
No, it's a good point. I think it is a thing to be wary of with the White Stalk. Is obviously, like you say, if there is a tray bird that you want, you're going to have to use the wetlands. So I think, you know, unlike something like the Franklin Skull or the Killdeer, where you can pretty much just rely on that as your card source in the grasslands, I think with a White Stalk you do need something in the wetlands. You know, it doesn't have to be a brown power, but maybe just a couple of birds in there to get you a bit more card draw, because every so often you are gonna want to go to the wetlands to get cards anyway. So I think Yellow Hammer can work here. I think certainly
the way you can sort of look at it is that in this situation, the Yellow Hammer essentially gives you a free wetland action every round.
Yeah, and I think because it is still round 2, you know, if you get that down this round, you're still looking at maybe 3 activations off it. So I think that can still work.
Yeah.
I think that could still work. So they can get that down. You know, in the grasslands, obviously extends that out a little bit as well, gets you the extra eggs. So that is always nice as well. But for SPAKEME, pretty straightforward, like we said. If they got the food for the Raven, you get that down, and now I think they're going to look to lay eggs. You can get that 3 food. Obviously, the Phoebe will give you one of the worms you need, and then hopefully get this Godwit down and try and get some nice birds with it. For sure. So, do we have a timer bug? We might have a timer bug.
Looks like it, yeah.
I'll just check with our players.
I'm not sure.
I think, because on SPAKEME just played the Raven, and it's still showing as their turn on Kyle's screen. So,
do you still activate the Eastern Phoebe here if you already have the Raven down? Or do you take a couple of turns to...
I think I would. Because, you know, you look at your opponent, they've got good food draw. I don't think one extra worm is that big of a deal. If it helps you get that Godwit down 1 turn sooner, you know, imagine they don't take the worm, and then the tray gets reset with the White Stalk, and there's a bird you want to pick. Exactly. Then you kind of regret not being able to play the Godwit and pick that up. But I think that's what I'd do. I think I'd look to obviously get the worm and the seed using the Raven, and then get the extra worm with the Phoebe, and then you can get that down pretty quickly. So
I think I've mentioned this before, but the way the White Stalk works online is slightly peculiar. Because obviously it says reset the tway, so normally when you play the physical board game, you always see what bird they take from the tway. Whereas online you only see the tway after it's been reset and the card has been drawn, so you obviously don't know what card they've taken.
That is true. And it's the same in terms of like end of rounds and stuff like that. If someone draws birds on the last turn, you don't always necessarily see. I think particularly as well, if you have these powers, like you say, where the tray gets reset, you can't always immediately tell what's been taken or what has appeared in the tray, which is a little bit frustrating. It's one of those kind of visual things, but
I mean, sometimes you just can't tell at all. It doesn't show you.
Yeah. And that's such a big part of Wingspan, I think, knowing what your opponent's picked up. Certainly if there's a big bird in the tray that you then see they've grabbed with the White Stalk, that can kind of influence a little bit in terms of what you do. Like if you know they've got some big point bird, you think, okay, I'm not going to give you free food here. Or maybe, you've got one of those co-op food cards and you see they've picked up the Bonelli's Eagle. You think, right, I'm not going to give you free cards here because that's just going to help you get that down even quicker and for even more points. So, I think there are kind of little subtleties like that make seeing that important. But, SPAKEME, there we go. They did get the worm from the Phoebe. And I imagine they will... look to try and get this Godwit down, and maybe you get something good, maybe you don't, but it is still at least either way going to be that first wetland bird to help the card draw a bit, and of course gets you a bonus card. So they'll be hoping for something good from that, no doubt.
I wonder if SPAKEME is still looking, because I think they took the yellow-billed cuckoo for the deny, but it's still a decent play for them.
Yeah, no, it's a good point.
They
At the
have
moment,
quite a few egg spaces and they
yeah, yeah,
have a lot of food every turn. So
exactly. Yeah, they get a lot of food, and when they lay eggs at the moment, they're actually only gaining 2 because obviously that raven is taking up a couple, or taking up 1 and leaving a couple. So yeah, I would be looking at the cuckoo here for sure. I think it's a decent play when you know your opponent is going to be laying a lot of eggs, but not a great pick on the bonus card, Visionary Leader.
yeah. I know we
Tricky.
always talk about Breeding Manager, but I think Visionary Leader is definitely the worst bonus card in the game.
Yeah. No, I actually don't mind Breeding Manager. I think it gets a lot of hate.
Me neither.
I think it's one of those where certainly if you pick it up in the middle of the game, I think you'd almost rather have that than quite a few other ones because you can at least get 1 or 2 points. So many of those nest type ones maybe that you pick up and it says, oh, you need 4 bowl nests and you only got 1 down. You think, well, there's absolutely no chance of me getting another 3, so that's 0 points. But maybe you pick up the Breeding Manager and you've already got 1 bird that can fit 4 eggs, and maybe you're already looking at playing a second. A couple of points, I think you take that. I think it's not a bad option. So yeah, I would certainly put Breeding Manager above Visionary Leader. Just so tricky, and particularly with the wetland setup at the moment for SPAKEME, it's going to be so tough to try and end the game with at least 5 extra birds.
I don't mind that at all. The black-headed girl, I think it's a pretty good pick actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It sort of makes the repeated wetland activation less useless.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a decent wetland bird in its own right. Obviously, pushes that out, gets you some extra cards. But I like it for the pure chaos value. Being able to just mess with your opponent and grab the food that they were looking to use is so nice. But here we go. Black red start. Is that what you're thinking? Or are you thinking cowbird?
Probably not. Yeah, probably cowbird.
Ooh, Junko.
They don't have the card draw to take a Junko.
Junko's tricky, like you say. If you're only gaining 1 card a turn, it feels a bit risky. I think cowbird is. We talked about the cuckoo for them earlier being a good pickup. I think the cowbird is similarly good. Same kind of power with the 3 eggs, and they're going to be getting plenty of those. Obviously, with SPAKEME's grass and setup at the moment.
This is a point where they could go for the wetland activation just to get that rose-wasted grosbeak, which it still does viticulturalist. It's still a pretty good bird. It's essentially a guaranteed food, and it's 6 points.
Yeah. Well, they could. They could obviously. What they need to think about, right, is using this yellow hammer. So if they are going to use it this round, you do need to go for that wetland activation at some point anyway. And they can't really play a bird and then use it or use the wetland because they're not got the food to then actually use that yellow hammer. So I think they could. You could grab the grosbeak here and then maybe go for food and then use some of that food to play the warbler in the wetlands and then look next round to use the rest of the food to play the grosbeak. I don't think that's a bad option at all.
What's happening here? They took the black-headed girl, didn't play it.
Well, I think this is their.
Okay, they're gonna go for probably what's the name, the cuckoo.
Yeah, I think you look to go for either the cuckoo or the gull. I think the fact that they're using this Phoebe does kind of suggest that they are going to try and get this cuckoo down. And we say it time and time again, these pink powers, you want to get them down as soon as possible to really maximize the usage. And I think again, you know that your opponent's got a pretty decent grassland here. You know that they're going to have to use it every round at least once to make the most of this yellow hammer. And obviously it scores points, it gets cards, so they'll probably look to use it, maybe 1 or 2 times more than that. So
also probably just going for the end of round.
Yes, yeah. Well, that next end of round, obviously the birds in the forest certainly helps to push that out a little bit more. And maybe you get a tie or maybe you get a win on that. So really good option to have, I think, here if you SPAKEME. Right, I think we might be timer bugged again. So I'll just check in with the players and make sure that we get this resumed again. But this is weird. Normally you get
quite a powerful setup though for now.
They do. Yeah, I think they've got some nice birds, both of them, to get down, and certainly good engines to use. So This will be interesting. I'm going to be very interested to see what this round 3 tray is. That can often change the game, I think, particularly.
For sure.
If you're SPAKEME and you get a nice big, strong wetland bird that helps with the card draw, that's kind of what you're looking for. But equally,
horrible bonus cards for SPAKEME.
Yeah, that's the tricky part, right? They've got two bonus cards and 0 points, and kind of no, visible Food Web Expert birds in sight. And obviously Visionary Leader, like we talked about, just really, really tricky to make that work and get any points from. So, yeah, maybe they're looking at 2 points if they can get a single Food Web Expert bird, or maybe 4 points if they can get a couple. It's not great. So I think, they're going to have to try and score points, obviously, in other ways, trying to get big point birds down, and maybe with some free eggs as well from this cuckoo is going to help.
Definitely suboptimal.
Suboptimal for sure. Also suboptimal is Kyle not being able to get back into the game. So
I don't know what's happening here.
I don't know what's happening. It seems like it's a kind of it's obviously not a whole scale Wingspan problem, because we just saw SPAKEME was able to leave and come back in. So we might need to technical difficulties. Have a little break to try and get this sorted, but we'll see if Kyle's able to manage to log their way back in. He's going to do a restart. All right, we will hopefully get this fixed very soon.
Momentarily.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to turn it off and turn it back on again, and that will
100%,
that will fix it for you. So we will see. But like you said, it's it feels like it's a pretty good setup for both players. Obviously, the Raven, if you're SPAKEME, you're very happy with that. That's going to sort you out for all your food. But like we said, it's all down to the card draw. But this Yellowhammer, that we saw it used yesterday in one of the streams. It's been used in a couple of games as well previous to that. I think just being able to get all those extra free birds at the end of each round, it's really nice. So you can, if you get the right birds, if you're able to score points and gain enough resources by taking your other actions to actually make sure that you're, using that Yellowhammer power, then you can score a lot of points with that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially here, it's sort of gonna you're sort of able to justify certain birds that you wouldn't otherwise be justified to play. So, for example, if you have a white stork, you can still play like a mute swan in the water if you have it, and that's just 1 turn when you score 2 points. You're not doing it for the card draw because you're already getting the cards with the white stork.
Yeah.
Just to get a few points with your wetland action.
Yeah.
They join back?
I think so. I'll just check that we are good to go. But I mean, like you say, it's so important. I think when you do have a bird like the Yellowhammer, that you are able to score points, or at least get a lot of resources by taking those other actions. Something like the Mute Swan is a really good option. You get those tuck cards as well as the card draw, and I think their forest at the moment is pretty good. Gets a few food, which you like to see. But certainly, any kind of bird in there that's going to help generate points as well is very, very welcome. So,
where are they back?
They are indeed back. So we are good to go. And they've got the cowbird down. So we might see pink power countered by pink power here, if indeed this yellow-headed or is it the yellow-headed cuckoo? I'm drawing a blank on the name, but it will go down. Build cuckoo, of course, that's the one. So we might see a pink power counted straight away. But
I have both streams up.
You have both streams up. That's all right. They're going for the gull, which I don't mind actually. You think about it, they're going first SPAKEME in that 3rd round, so you want to kind of have that wetland set up in a way that means you can draw extra cards, and maybe you grab a free food stealing from your opponent. It's not bad. And like we said, it's all going to be on that 3rd round tray if they do go for that. Hopefully they can grab something good and just really get the birds they need to look to play and score lots of points.
So I'm a bit confused now because they played the cowbird, so it seems like they're not gonna go for the yellow hammer activation.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because now you have to activate the wetlands to be able to use it.
Unless the black-headed girl gets activated and takes a worm, and then they get a seed back, and they take the Junko.
And they take the Junko.
But SPAKEME is probably gonna lay eggs because for now they're liable to get fried.
Right. Yeah. I don't think they'll want to be drawing cards here, right? If you SPAKEME, because you want to wait. You're going to want to do that draw cards action at the start of the third round when you do get that fresh tray. So I think they'll be looking to wait here. But if Kyle's laying eggs as they do here and reset the tray with the stalk, maybe something good comes up. So they'll get that last go in this round. SPAKEME. Well, we've got the yellow hammer and the wagtail, and they've even got the worms to play the wagtail. So do you maybe look to double up on these kind of teal powers so that you can get 2 free birds down each round?
Well, it's only going to be for 2 rounds.
It's only going to be 2 rounds, sure.
And the white face type is a more tempting bird.
Yeah. I mean, just
I don't know, actually. I might have gone for the Ruby Crown Kinglet. Just for the end of round and for the viticulturist.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if maybe SPAKEME is going to look at that Kinglet as well. When you are able to get loads of food with the Raven.
Well, they have to take eggs. They're tied on me.
Oh, for the end of round. Yes. No, that's true.
Well, they are tied.
Yes. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. I think you lay eggs here. Just obviously those 3 extra points. Quick maths. Yeah. Get the eggs out. They've got plenty of space, so it's not a problem for the moment. So yeah, I think they'll probably, I don't know, you probably try and take a little bit of a mixture of food. I mean, plan B is going to be get this cuckoo down if nothing good does appear in the tray. So I think they will try and set themselves up for that, maybe with a couple of worms. But yeah, we'll see how long really they keep activating the Phoebe. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think that's kind of that's what you go for, because if you pick up something nice in that round 3 tray, you want to try and get it down as soon as possible. So if you can make sure you've got some kind of flexibility in the food to maybe play that, but it is time to stop using the Phoebe. That's what SPAKEME has decided. So I don't mind that. I think they used it a few times, obviously they used it to help get the Raven down. They used it to help get this Godwit down. I think it was really helpful there in just getting those birds down maybe that 1 turn sooner. But yeah, I think if you can avoid throwing some of this extra food at your opponent, particularly when they have a bird like the yellow hammer that's gonna,
maybe it can be useful if you know you're gonna have be taking cards next time. You won't have a black-headed girl activation.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously in this case, Carla's kind of already got the food if they do want to see it. But yeah, that is a very nice tray. I think you go straight for the Sandpiper. Food web expert is 7 points. And
Sandpiper, Puri Chicken, I think are both great. But
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you probably grab both of those, right? You steal a worm, and then you probably get this Sandpiper down straight away, and maybe try and dig a little bit more and hopefully find some nice engine birds. But certainly that Prairie Chicken, they've not maybe had the luck on the bonus card so far. But
how many bad bonus cards can you execute for?
Exactly.
You already got them out the deck.
Yeah.
Worst comes to worst, with the Sandpiper, you are doing Visionary Leader anyway.
That's true. And I think, when you do have Visionary Leader, it's a bit more of an insurance kind of in that sense. You can afford to maybe spend that 1 extra turn digging from the deck and drawing cards. And if you don't get good cards, well, you'll still get some points for them through the Visionary Leader, and that's quite useful. But we might have just briefly lost Kyle.
The player, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we lost Kyle there. So hopefully we get that up again soon.
Johnny Woodpecker, another good tway bird to take here.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm a huge fan of those double birds, but
yeah,
considering the end of round, the fact that they're not that comfortable egg space wise, and it does the bonus card.
Yeah.
It's quite a few factors that align that make the tiny woodpecker a tempting bird.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for both players. Like you said, I think it's good for, obviously good for the end of round. It's good for Kyle, and it's going to help the viticulturist bonus cards and just give some extra egg space, and push that forest out so that if they do need to gain food, they're going to get a little bit more. So I think it's good for them, but equally good for SPAKEME for kind of similar reasons. Obviously, the end of round, you kind of want to be trying to win that. So if you can get 2 birds down in a single turn, that's always very nice. And yeah, again, just kind of egg space. If they are going to look to play this cuckoo, you'll get lots of free eggs. You're going to fill up a little bit quicker than you otherwise would. So always nice to kind of have those in your pocket.
The 8-point warbler in their hand.
That's
thing
true.
is, I feel like you'd probably aim to play in the water given the last end of round goal.
Yes, yeah, you kind of want as many egg spaces there as possible, right? And at the moment they don't have anything. And I'm trying to remember if they have any other wetland birds in their hand, but I'm not sure they do. So I suppose you could pick up the loon here if you are Kyle. Obviously, you'll be able to be a bit selfish in that and kind of just use that power for yourself because your opponent, they've already got 2 birds down. They're probably going to play this sandpiper and start hammering that as well. So even if you get 2 birds down in the wetlands, you can still use that loon's power and potentially get some extra birds. So I might look at that. But yeah, certainly they've got a few options. But we are indeed back. We have got Kyle's
they are going to go for it.
And they have indeed gone for it. And is that a collared dove in the tray? That is a collared dove in the tray.
Yeah.
So
good bird.
It's good bird for sure.
I mean, it's going to act as the 4th grassland bird, and they could potentially max it twice.
Yes. Yeah, you're always going to have a bit of extra food, right? So I think being able to turn that into points, get some tuck cards, really always a good option. I like these kind of birds. There's a few of them. You get to discard the food and get the tucks. Yeah, I think they fit well into quite a lot of setups. I think you're always going to have a little bit of food somewhere, and they're actually pretty good point returns in their own right. I think 5 points for 2 food, it's not terrible, particularly sort of as you get later into the game. So even if you only get maybe 3 or 4 tuck cards from that, I think you can make a case for it. And yeah, certainly they're in the position at the moment to really kind of max that out and get as many tucks as they can each round.
Yeah, for sure. If they take cards, how many cards are they gonna have? They're gonna play 2 birds, they're gonna get another 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, so that doesn't qualify for the first stage of VT. So they might actually risk it, play the spoiled sandpiper first.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to risk it. I'd be tempted to, because you kind of look at your opponent, and again, if they want that, they're gonna have to draw cards, and they're gonna have to just draw 1 card. And kind of when you're in round 3 and you're only getting 1 thing a turn, it is a bit inefficient. So I agree. I think I would probably be looking at going for the sandpiper, and then if you do use the gull, you could steal a food and then play the cuckoo the next turn, and you still get it down reasonably early to try and get some free eggs. But equally, I don't mind this. I don't mind getting the cuckoo down. Again, your opponent is going to be laying lots of eggs, particularly with that last end of round goal. They'll want to get as many eggs down in each habitat to try and compete with that. So you can expect a few free activations on that, and of course it helps with this own end of round goal with the birds in the forest.
Yeah, I mean I think you can expect that your opponent has to play a bird here because they're almost full on egg spaces.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're gonna be full if the cowbird activates. So
well, exactly. That's the thing. They have only got 3 egg spaces, and those are going to fill up as soon as SPAKEME starts laying eggs. So yeah, I mean, it's not a bad problem to have. I think particularly with the yellow hammer, to have lots of extra eggs lying around. It's going to help with getting some of these extra free birds down. So certainly a nice option. But yeah, they are kind of going to have to think carefully about where they lay the eggs and where they get these birds down. Are they going to go for this double play in the forest, do you think? And then maybe try and get food and use...
They kind of have to.
I think they have to. And then, they go for extra food, and you maybe use the yellow hammer to get this ibis down. And 8 points, very, very nice, I think, if you're able to get that as a free bird.
I I mean, they have quite a few bird points on the board already. They have an 8-point
Yep.
bird down. They're gonna have another 2.
Yep.
And the others, sometimes you don't really care about the difference between a 3-point bird or a 0-point bird, but it adds up.
It does. It does. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
robin is 4 points. It's 3
Absolutely.
foot, but it's 4 points over a chickadee, which is 2 points, and
Yeah.
stuff like that does add up.
Yeah, I think it sometimes is easy to miss as well. Like you say, you kind of have sometimes maybe 2 or 3 of these kind of big 8-point birds. Combined between them, you're sort of getting 20, 25 points from those. It does add up, and kind of obviously, it sounds obvious, but you get big point birds down, you're going to score a lot of points. So I think when you are able to draw those kind of birds, get them in your hand, you want to try and get them down, as many of them down as possible, and certainly again with a bird like the yellowhammer that's just going to help you play extra birds. There's potential for Kyle to get a lot of bird points here if they're able to find some extra birds as well to play.
Black woodpecker going down here, maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting. They keep grabbing cherries, right? They keep using the raven to grab these cherries. I think when they got the gull down, they used the cherry, and then they played the cuckoo and they used the cherry, and then they've laid eggs here and gained another cherry. So they're kind of teasing it. I think it's not terrible again if it is going to help tie this end of round goal, and obviously they'll see now with this double play going down. If they are going to tie this end of round goal, they will need to play it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I'd be looking to play it.
The grassland isn't super powerful right now, because obviously Kyle is getting an egg every time, so it's a 2-point grassland. Right. And if they play the black woodpecker, that's going to be essentially they're not going to have to do the grassland again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think they're on their way to win the 4th end of round. Hey, if they switch to forest, they're probably not going to win it.
No. I think again, if you SPAKEME, you kind of want to get the sandpiper down, right? You want to try and help get yourself some extra cards. They got this prairie chicken, which they're probably going to try and look to play. But you probably have at least one more turn drawing cards, and just kind of hoping you can get something nice. I think that collar dove still, if they can get their hands on that, it's not a bad option to have in the grasslands, at least alongside the prairie chicken. It will help push it out that little bit further, get some extra eggs. But you never know what you get. Maybe you find some nice big point birds as well to look to play. So yeah, I think I'd be going sandpiper here, and then at the moment your opponent's still got 2 worms. So if you do go for cards, and you can look to use that gull to maybe steal a worm, and then you're still able to get that woodpecker down if that's what you want to do.
I mean, the tray is most likely gonna get reset now. Damn, I should eat that chicken.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, I that Carl's gonna lay eggs at some point, because they kind of have to for the yellowhammer. I guess for them it's about whether they lay eggs now and then go for food, or whether they go for food and then lay eggs, right? That's the 2 options, but they are indeed going for eggs. So we are going to see a reset tray, and SPAKEME's going to be hoping. Not great options. But the hooded crow is quite good for Kyle here. Obviously they don't really have the cards. They don't really have the cards to maximize usage. Awful. Yeah, it's quite tricky, right? Because if they had enough cards, they'd be able to get plenty of tucks. Your opponent's going to be laying eggs, but yeah, the Merganser maybe for the next end of round, if that's what they're looking for. Lots of egg spaces. That might not be a terrible option, but I think certainly Kyle was hoping for some better options in the tray to pick up there with the white stork.
Merganser only 3 points, probably not worth at this stage. I think the hooded crow would have probably still been worth keeping, because you still have another 1 turn of taking eggs.
Right.
Actually, no, you don't. Yeah, no, you do. You have another 1 turn of taking eggs.
Yep.
Taking food, taking eggs. Play the hooded crow with the yellowhammer.
Exactly. Yeah, you could play it with the yellowhammer.
Take a card, get something else.
Yeah, and then you still have enough cards because you've laid eggs enough times. You can tuck cards from the white stork power. So would not have been a bad option, but that is probably not what you want to see there if you're SPAKEME.
Yeah,
that's a little bit better. Still 7 points, but yeah, when you pick up. They picked up 3 birds for a combined value of 2 points. when you're trying to look for big point birds to play. Probably not a great option.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 birds they have. I wonder if they're gonna go for Visionary Leader. Yeah, I was gonna say regarding the Hooded Crow and the White Stork, the good thing with the Hooded Crow is that you can draw from the tray.
Yeah, exactly.
So even if they activate the White Stork and there's a good card here, they can just take the card next to it and then tuck it and get the card they wanted with the Hooded Crow.
Yeah.
After playing it with the Yellow Hammer. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's good. Like you say, if you are able to grab some birds from the tray that otherwise you wouldn't be able to take with the White Stork, it's a good bit of flexibility to have. I don't mind it at all. But yeah, for SPAKEME, it looks like they did use the Gull to steal the worm, so they have still got that option if they want to be playing this Woodpecker. Obviously, would tie the end of round, and like we said, with the Grasslands at the moment, not really kind of scoring lots of points. You want to try and get some birds down at least that either are going to score points on their own or help with the end of round goals here. So yeah, kind of probably that and the Prairie Chicken. I don't know.
They didn't throw an egg, did they?
I think they did. Because they drew the 3 birds that the 0-0 and the 2, and then they got the goose from the Sandpiper. So they drew 4 birds that turn.
Okay.
So yeah, so at the moment they are on that lower threshold of the Visionary Leader.
Yeah, but they can only play 1 bird if they want to stay on the lower threshold.
Right.
So that means they can play probably the Prairie Chicken, but they can't play the Savannah Sparrow with it.
No, but it does give them flexibility in that. So if they drew cards again, they'll have 10 cards, and so they could then maybe play 2 and be able to max out the Visionary Leader and get those 7 points. And again, that comes down to the point we mentioned before about that kind of insurance. Sometimes drawing cards late in the game, particularly as you go into that final round, it's not always the best option to have because you're not scoring points and it is a bit of a gamble on what you can draw. But at least if you're meeting Visionary Leader and getting some points that way, it does kind of soften the blow a little bit. You think, well, okay, if I draw some big point birds, great, I can play them. If not, well, I'm still getting points from the bonus card. So it's kind of a little bit of a win-win situation, I think.
Yeah. Plus, if they know they're going to draw cards again, that means they can probably afford to play the Black Woodpecker here. Just for the end of round, how much is it? It's losing from tying is going from 3 points behind. You gain 2 points, they lose a point. It's a 3-point swing.
Yeah, and then obviously plus the 2 net points. 2 net points.
7-point bird, 5-point bird.
Yeah, 5 points after the egg. So it's not bad. I think taking a 5-point action in round 3. It's never bad.
It's not bad, but it also means they potentially have a very powerful forest action in the back later.
Would not have been a bad option, but equally, I don't mind this. I don't mind going for cards. I think they were really hoping for something better on the previous turn, and probably hoping for something better here and just not really getting it. So, there we go. That's better.
We have something.
It's something. It's something to work with. It's big points. You get that down in the final round. I think you're pretty happy. So, I think they do have the 10 cards that we talked about. Yeah, they do. So you can play 2 of those. Would you look to go
Golden Eagle, Greater Prairie Chicken?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you look to go Eagle and Chicken, get those down? You've extended your Grasslands out, so at least you're getting a couple of extra points, maybe. Obviously, 1 extra egg, and then maybe a tuck on the Eagle as well. So that feels pretty natural, pretty straightforward. Get those 2 birds down, max out Visionary Leader, and take the 7 points. I think you'd be happy with that.
It's a smooth ending. It's gonna depend a lot on that Greater Prairie Chicken bonus card.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, if you get like Rodentologist or Omnivore or something like that for 6 points or more, you'd be very happy with that. So that's probably what they're looking for. But equally, maybe you draw something like Bird Feeder and get 0. So it is always a bit of a gamble that you take. But we have Kyle going for food, and they are able to use this Yellow Hammer. So I imagine it is going to be the Ibis that goes down. they have got plenty of cards and plenty of food, but maybe they're thinking if they are going to draw cards once more, the Merganser is going to come in handy. I mean, it looks like they were planning on playing both, right? So if you are going to play both,
I don't really like that.
It does feel a little bit late. It does kind of depend, right? It depends if it helps them win this last end of round goal. That. Ooh, Chiff Chaff. Surely it's too late for Chiff Chaff.
Futurist, it is the last card.
That's true, actually. That's true. That is a good point. And if they are going to draw food, rather, you can.
It's not a bad option at all. Actually, not a bad option.
I take it back. I take it back completely.
Obviously, I don't know why they took the spoiled out as well.
That might just have
play both.
No, that might just have been a deny. But you do, of course, then reveal the Eastern Imperial Eagle. So, I mean,
nah, probably too late. I wouldn't take it.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think for SPAKEME, sure, it feels a bit late. I don't know. I mean, if you're Kyle, you could probably still grab that. Particularly, you grab that, you play the Chiff Chaff. Are you going to have some extra cards? Maybe not if you are going to use the Eagle, but it's still a big point play. I think they need to think carefully because they have obviously got a lot of food, right? They're going to look to probably get some of these birds down. Make sure you can use the Yellow Hammer power, but also they got to think carefully about when they lay eggs to make sure that they can, get them in the right nests, get them in the right habitats to really try and maximize the score from this end of round goal. Yes, I'm just wondering. I think SPAKEME is kind of looking at the eagle and thinking and counting, and they're looking at some of the birds in their hand. Obviously,
I don't know how either of them could afford to take the eagle here, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think it's one of those you see it straight away and you think, oh, I need to have that. But I think you kind of look at the other options that both players have. I think you're right. You think about it, it's a big point play, but it's 2 turns. You've got to pick it up for 1 turn and play it for another. So when you spread out those points that you're scoring over the 2 turns, you're maybe only actually getting 4 or 5 points for each of those turns. And I think by kind of looking to play the existing birds that each of these players have got, you're going to look to score more points on that. So
yes, sometimes you have to stick to the plan.
Sometimes you do. I think Wingspan is a lot of the time about being able to react to change, and kind of you see a bird come up or something changes with the bird feed, or anything can happen that makes you need to shift your plan. But equally, if you've come up with a good plan, and you, particularly in this last round where you've got 4 or 5 turns where you know exactly what you're going to do, sometimes the best play is just to try and stick with that. And I think certainly for SPAKEME it does feel pretty straightforward. They're going to try and get these 2 birds down, look for a nice bonus cards, and otherwise just lay eggs and really try and maximize this end of round goal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for both of them the end looks somewhat what's the word? Obvious in a way.
Yeah.
They know what they have to do, and they're just gonna do it.
Yeah.
It would be nice to get a better bird to play for Kyle here. Obviously, there is one action they can take twice, and they have a lot of food.
Right.
They don't have any actions that's very high point scoring, so ideally they would probably like to play another 2 birds and then a bird on the round end, which they can definitely do since they're going to play the Chiff Chaff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess kind of the question here is like with the Chiff Chaff, if you're going to play it, where does it go? Because I think
Forest.
Yeah, well, I think my mind went forest, but like you said, they have got loads of food, so I don't know. You play
it in the forest. You take eggs first. You throw away food.
Yeah.
And you see what card you get, and then you take food. You took 5 cards. You still have the ibis to play, and maybe another bird that you got.
Yeah.
While taking eggs.
No, that's very true.
Okay,
they did. Yeah, they did throw the food. So max out their egg spaces on the Merganser. I like that. And okay. Horned owl, maybe, but then that does take up the space that the Chiff Chaff was going to have. So, But I think you take that anyway, right? You're not going to play either of the other 2, so.
Slightly unfortunate.
Slightly, yeah. I think they probably were looking for maybe a nice wetland or forest bird that's going to score points or get a bonus card. That was probably the hope. But
Or wetland or grassland.
yeah, I think that would have been nice. But yeah, again, just kind of for SPAKEME, straightforward. They are kind of looking at the sparrow for the double play, and I do worry that they use that and then miss the bonus card, the visionary leader, because obviously that is an extra bird that you've played. That's then one less in your hand. That's not going to count.
I mean, if
towards
they
it.
play them and they don't play golden eagle, it gives them an extra turn of laying eggs and potentially doing the end of round.
Yeah. This is where the sums come in, right? Again, you've got 4 turns.
Yeah.
You've got kind of 2 different paths you can go down. They are looking at the visionary leader, so they are kind of aware of what they need for that. But yeah, you think, okay, well, do I do a double play and lay eggs 3 times? Do I play 2 birds and lay eggs twice? What's going to max out? Is it going to depend on getting something on the eagle? Is it going to depend on what bonus cards I might be able to draw from the prairie chicken that's gonna dictate that? So, yeah, I think this is the right play. I think you get the chicken down and see.
I agree, yeah.
I like this, and now this gives them the option if they do look to lay eggs this next turn. You can always chuck a food and get an extra egg. So that is always a good option to have, I think, late in the game here. But yeah, we'll see if they do get this down, which it looks like they are doing. And obviously they'll be hoping for a nice bonus card here. Okay, that's not bad.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. I think 4 points you're happy with. So pretty good return. So what was that? 8 points for the prairie chicken for 3 food, and then again this eagle, that's going to get them 6 after the eggs, and then potentially if they're looking to lay eggs, maybe once after that they can try and get some tuck card behind it. But yeah, I think that's a good bonus card, and SPAKEME if we're pretty happy with that. And again, feels like pretty straightforward end game here. Lay eggs, get the eagle down, then lay eggs, and hopefully try and get as many eggs down as possible for this end of round goal.
Yeah.
And we do see Chiff Chaff in the forest, so I think what you said is gonna be the case here. They'll go for food and try and get some of these extra cards they've got tucked behind. But they can probably lay eggs first. They've got the space, and obviously that'll give them an extra card to tuck as well. And they've already got enough food to use that yellow hammer and play this ibis. So yeah, feels pretty.
Do they have 5
cards
to tuck? Okay, they only have 4.
They've got 4.
Yeah.
They've got 4. So if they lay eggs once more, get another card from the yellow hammer. I mean, obviously, if it's something better than the ibis, great, you play it. If it's not, it's fine. It's another point. It's going to get tucked behind the Chiff Chaff. So yeah, I don't mind that. You lay eggs for 4 points, you take food for 5 points, and then you play a 7-point bird. As a free action at the end of the game. That feels pretty nice, I think, if you're Kyle.
Pretty good Chiff Chaff now, actually.
Pretty good Chiff Chaff, yeah. Well, again, like you said, it meets the bonus cards, so it's another 4 points for that. It's going to turn all of these extra cards you've got left over into points, which is always nice. So yeah, very, very flexible. Going to help score a lot of points here. And maybe drag it back. I think it's tricky. I think we did get a little kind of sneak at their score. So, if I
were on 60, 67.
Yeah, they were sort of high 60s. So I think kind of from these last few turns.
That's a 5-point Chiff Chaff.
I think they're going to score about 20 points if you include the end of round. And then maybe they might get a couple of eggs from the cowbird. So you're looking at sort of somewhere in the 90s, which is pretty good. I think you can always be happy with that. I'm not quite sure where SPAKEME is in terms of the point scoring. Obviously, the bonus cards, 2 pretty decent scoring ones. The visionary leader, it looks like they'll max that out, and obviously the forester as well, pretty nice. So, yeah, score a few points from that.
Yeah, they're looking pretty decent actually. Now they have points on every bonus card.
Right.
How many bonus points is it?
7, 4, and 2.
4 and 2.
13. 13 from 3 isn't bad. So.
13 from 3 isn't bad at all.
No. Are we bugged again? I think we might be bugged again. I'm not sure who. I'm not sure who last went. If they both got 2 turns left, think it was the. I think it was the. No, because we can see the chicken. I don't know. Someone's bugged. I'll tag them both.
Place your bets on who's gonna win here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Do you know what? Because we've got a bit of time while they reset, I'll get a poll up.
It's hard to say, you know.
It's hard to say. I know we've got a few Kyle fans in the chat, so I'm sure they'll be voting for Kyle here. But we will see as we get the poll up. So yeah, you can vote in the poll. Who do you think is going to win, Kyle or SPAKEME?
So obviously, SPAKEME still has significant in the round goal advantage here if he manages to win the last one.
Yeah, and I feel like it does look like he will win it, or it might be
8 points eagle and another 5 points.
I think it might be
activation.
Yeah, it might be a tie in the end.
Close.
It might be a tie in the end of round, right? Because they're going to play the eagle, 9 eggs, and then they 4 on a final turn, so they'll get up to 13. Which and then maybe 1 more from the cuckoos. They still can't reach 15. So they're not going to get to the 5 eggs, and obviously we know that Kyle is capped out of 4 with that Merganser. So, yeah, there we go for the eggs. You get the snow bunting, kind of late for that, but that's fine. As we said, that's gonna get turned into a tuck card using the chip chaff anyway.
Potentially go for a late game crash with the snow bunting.
No, it's fine. It works now. It doesn't crash the game. So
that might be a strategy.
Could you imagine that? You play that on the last turn and then it crashes the game. Oh, sorry, we're going to have to restart now.
How unfortunate. You play on your own risk.
Yeah. No, I'd be surprised if we...
Sneak peek here on the 75.
Yeah, and that to me, that feels like it's going to be close then, right? Because this eagle's going to go down for 6, and then they lay eggs for 4. So that's
another 11 points.
Yeah, maybe they get 1 from the eagle, so that's another 11, and then the end of round goal is 7 points if they win that. So they're going to be sort of, low 90s. It's going to be close.
Probably in Kyle's favor here.
Yeah, it's going to be super close. It might come down to food, and if it does, Kyle is going to have the 1 food advantage there after this Ibis goes down as well. So, yeah, this certainly feels like it's going to be a very, very close score at the end. And we do have some votes coming in on the poll, and 71% so far are in favour of Kyle. So, we will see very shortly, once these 2 players have both had their final turns. We will see who is going to come out on top.
Very carefully, not tucking
the
Ibis.
Yeah. Don't want to misclick. Take your time. Don't make any mistakes. There we go. And of course, they get plenty more food from the robin as well. So very, very nice. And yeah, maybe it's going to come down to whether this golden eagle can get a tuck. So you want to try and get as many points as possible. Pretty likely to get a.
I think Kyle is ahead a few points.
We'll see.
But obviously, my math isn't perfect.
No, I think they are both going to be.
Far from it,
yeah, I feel like they're both within 5 points, maybe less than that. And it is tricky to kind of know which way it's going to go. So obviously, a free egg is going to come Kyle's way after this turn. Which they do have the space for there on the robin.
I think SPAKEME is more going to be towards the low 90s.
Well, I think I feel like they're both going to be in that sort of 90 to 95 range. So it's.
Oh, I just pinched my finger.
What are you playing at? It looked like the eagle missed there. Tried to eat the buzzard. So no extra point, no successful hunt. Which I'm sure SPAKEME will be disappointed about, but nothing you can do about that. You back?
What did I miss? Eagle missed. Okay.
Eagle missed, and the Ibis is going down now. So hopefully you.
I had to mute to scream in pain.
It's all right. We're nearly at the end, and then you can go and get yourself bandaged up. But here we go, into the scores.
Close game. Close game.
It certainly feels like it's going to be close. And yeah, close in bird points. SPAKEME get a slight edge there on the bonus cards. Slight edge on the end of round goals. Slight edge to Kyle on the eggs. And it does come down to the food tiebreaker. I had a feeling it was going to come down to that. And there we go. Kyle does take it by virtue of having all those extra food. And so it was that eagle with the critical miss at the end. Yeah,
that is so unfortunate.
Made the difference. Very, very unfortunate. But yeah, there we go. Super close game. Super close game. Both players on 91. But Kyle does take the win by virtue of having extra food at the end of the game. So congratulations. And yeah, I think we will look
I wouldn't want to be in SPAKEME seat.
No, that is always frustrating when you
going for the activation once and missing.
Yeah, always a shame. But yeah, we will bring the players back in. So I will see if Kyle has sorted out the audio issues before the game.
So hear me?
I can indeed hear you, Kyle, loud and clear. So congratulations, super tight game. We had a feeling it was going to be close, but coming down to that food in the end. So you just about nicked the win. But yeah, how do you feel that game went in general for you?
Well, the beginning was awful. I picked the wrong start food. I didn't think the robin would fall, and then once it fell, I'm like, darn, I just wasted. I had to pick up food.
Yeah.
And then I was so quick to put it down, I completely missed the raven was in the tray.
Yes.
Like, oh, great.
Yeah, we did notice that when it appeared. We kind of thought, oh, is he going to see it? Is he going to see it? And you were so quickly getting down the robin that you just didn't see it. And you know that happens sometimes, I think. But
I mean, the funny thing is,
at the end of the game, I thought it went pretty good.
Yeah.
The chip chap was a very nice pull.
Yeah.
Complete my bonus card and then let me turn my extra cards into points. So.
Yeah, very nice, very smooth. I think that final round, like you said, you get the cards, you get that chip down, and you managed to max out the 5 tucks that you got from that single food action, and obviously all that extra food that you grabbed, helping to win on the tiebreaker. So, very nice indeed. But yeah, I'll turn now to SPAKEME. Commiserations first of all. That eagle missing on that final turn is a big disappointment.
Gutted.
I feel.
Absolutely gutted.
Yeah. I think that's the only word for it.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, we kind of knew it was going to be close as we kind of looked in that final round, and you both kind of gave us a little sneak preview of the scores, and then we were kind of adding up and thinking, right, they're going to play this bird and then lay eggs or get these tuck cards, and who's going to win the end of round. But
you can't give the commentators a sneak preview of the score, then they get just way too distracted trying to math out who's winning.
Yeah, well, like we're normally pretty bad at trying to count and tell who's winning, so it is always nice to have that sneak preview. But yeah, super close, and does go to Kyle in the end. Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah,
I wondered what he was doing, but it was like, yeah, it's perfect move really. 5 extra tucks and then the food at the end, won it for him. But yeah,
and the bonus card as well. It helped the viticulturalist, so a few extra points, which you certainly always take on that. So yeah, very good game. So congratulations, of course, again to Kyle, who takes the win here. Thank you to both of our players for joining us for this stream. Certainly a very entertaining game to watch. And
yeah, both had a very exciting start.
Yeah.
Exciting hand here. So.
Yeah, I think we kind of knew it was going to be a good game from the start, and then obviously the Raven comes up, and that always makes the game more interesting as well. So,
Kyle, did you get your entire family to watch the game? Or?
Yeah, we had a lot of Kyle fans in the chat, so they are very excited and very happy. Some suggestions of tequila shots. I'm not going to endorse that, but.
Check out the comments.
So it's a family-friendly chat here.
Absolutely.
PG-13.
PG-13, but no. Good stuff. Thank you. Yeah, thanks to both our players, and thank you to Motherlove for joining me. That was,
yeah, thank you for streaming and for both players for playing.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, thank you
for everyone who tuned in. Obviously.
Yeah, thank you to the viewers in the chat very good to see you here today, and hopefully you enjoyed that one. And yeah, if you enjoyed this match and want to see more matches like this, we've got plenty more live streams coming up from this tournament, so please do stick around, check those out, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you next time.